Hello, my name is Morgan Escalera, joined by Amron Marks, Daniel Ferguson, Cody Cunningham, and Kendall Ryan. For the ethics case study analysis, the group chose Case 10, The Entrepreneur on Company Time. A division of a large corporation, Division X, hosted entrepreneuring competition internally with a promise of recognition and support for those whose ideas were chosen. There were 5 winners in the competition, yet the company did not support the winners as they had promised. In the end, one product progressed past the competition. This was because the person behind the project, Engineer Z, worked through his personal time to progress the idea through the stages. After the project developed into something marketable, Division X supported the effort and made it the job of Engineer Z to continue to bring it to market. Division X decided to incorporate the product line within the company as the idea progressed. Though Engineer Z filed a patent as the inventor of the product, Division X claimed sole ownership of the product. Engineer Z thought that even though he signed a typical invention agreement, new ideas were exempt from it. Shortly afterward, Division X decided to shift the product line to another division, where Engineer Z was not offered position at the new division.
When analyzing the case study for its alignment to the AICHE Code of Ethics, there are 4 main ethical codes that can be applied. Code 4. The company has a responsibility to be truthful with the employee about their expectations and goals. The original advertisement could have been better communicated. With honesty and a better communication, there could have been less potential for the employee to be cheated. Truthfulness and a reminder of the invention agreement could have also helped to smooth any tension that arose. Code 6. The company wanted to utilize and recognize the talents that their workers already had. They created a contest that workers could, by choice, use their ideas and talents to design a new product or business model. This allowed for anyone to submit an idea for the project, thus abiding by the code to treat all colleagues and coworkers fairly by fostering an environment of inclusion. Code 9. Given the nature of the contest, the company was promoting new learning and different skill utilization. The employee whose project allowed him to be sent for work to research elsewhere and had his ideas supported was given the chance to develop his professional skill set. His supervision allowed him to change jobs and adjust in order to learn and develop. Code 11. Overall, the company acts within their legal rights and is fair to all the employees in the beginning of the contest. Once the contest progresses, they still support and allow the engineer to work on the project and actually make it his job. The sticky situation arises in the fact that the patent does not seem honorable from the engineer's perspective in that he is the inventor, but not the owner of the patent. It is completely legal within the terms of an invention agreement and understandable what the company has done, but could potentially be viewed as disrespectful and dishonorable.
Although it may seem that the company acted unfairly towards their employee, the company has several laws protecting it. The main one being the ShopRite law. This law states that if an employee signs a written agreement with a company, any inventions created by that employee can be used by the employer. Even if no agreement was signed, the company would still have the rights to the ideas since the employer is an engineer, and engineers are hired with the intent to invent. This means that even though the employee's project was completely unrelated to the work he was doing for the company, an engineer is expected to come up with new ideas and is therefore obligated to hand over those ideas to the company that is employing him. Another law that is ironically in favor of the company is the Fair Standards Labor Act Bill of 1938. Under this bill, the employee is exempt from requirements of employers to provide overtime pay for employees working more than 40 hours. This employee is exempted from this protection of this bill due to the fact that his job requires an elevated level of education, and this falls under the bill's exemptions of a learned profession. So even though the employee spent extra time putting together this project on his own time, he's owed no compensation. The only argument that could be made in favor of the employee is that the contract he signed was unconscionable. A contract can be unconscionable since the company applied undue influence. This is where one party exercises unreasonable pressure on another party. This is especially true when one party takes advantage of the other in some way. The company created a contest with the promise of reward and drove this employee to spend the better part of his free time over the period of 2 years to develop his idea. Since the employee was pressured to complete the project by the company's false pretenses of rewards that is never intended to keep, the argument could be made that the company took advantage of the employee, thus making the contract unconscionable.
It is important for engineers to keep in mind the documentation they sign when they begin working for a company. Engineer Z thought that because he came up with the idea outside of his typical responsibilities and on his own time that he owned it. However, as this example of a typical invention agreement shows, employers fully own all discoveries, ideas, and concepts that employees come up with using any company resources. As engineers, it is common to look at ethics from an engineer's perspective. However, it is also important to view the case study from the viewpoint of those who run the company. While the company did not technically do anything dishonest or unethical, they could have done more to foster a supporting environment for their workers. First, they should have honored their promise to support all 5 contest winners' projects, or not promise things that they would not necessarily be able to act on. Second, the company should be more in touch with its workers' expectations and desires. Had there been more communication between Engineer Z and his superiors, his expectations may not have been as high, or his superiors could have recognized that Engineer Z would have liked to stick with the
Potential
new division
solution
that he
from the
helped create.
engineer's perspective. Looking at this scenario from the engineer's perspective, it is clear that Engineer Z should understand that he legally has no right to the project he was working on. Engineer Z is very frustrated by this result, due to all the countless personal hours that he put into the project. After reevaluating the situation, Engineer Z has decided that the best option would be to ask to schedule a meeting with upper-level management in order to discuss the possibility of having a larger role in continuing the project.